This is Abhishek Tiwari here. Once again, I'm here with a new explanation of the fresh explanation of the lesson, the third level by Jack Finney. So, students, we were studying last day the journey of the narrator into an imaginary means into past through time travel. Okay. It was whether it was his imagination or a reality. Okay. Going through the lectures thoroughly, we are examining it. Okay. So we have studied that how he reached to the third level, okay, the year 1894. And after he went over there with after when he reached over there to ensure that he was over there, he went to the newspaper boy, and saw the news, okay, that belonged to 1894. And he completely uh, completely admitted that yes, surely he went into the time, the year of the past 1894. Okay. So let us further, let's follow the lecture further, how the rest of the things happened over there. Okay. Further, the narrator said that I turned toward the ticket windows. Okay. I turned. Let's start explanation from here. So narrator said that I turned toward the ticket windows, knowing that here on the third level at Grand Central. Okay. So when he knew that it was a third level, so he turned toward the ticket window of the station. Okay. Here, I could buy tickets that would take Louisa and me anywhere in the United States we wanted to go. Okay. So here, he there was an arrangement that he could buy tickets that would take both Louisa and the narrator, okay, anywhere in the United States, wherever they wanted to go. So in the year 1894, after that, in the year in the year 1894, I wanted two tickets to Galesburg, Illinois. Okay. And he went to ticket counter and he wanted two tickets for Galesburg and Illinois. Okay. After, okay, have you ever been there? It's a wonderful town still, with big old frame houses, huge lawns, and tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead and roof the streets. Okay. So here, now he began to the narrator began to describing about Galesburg and Illinois, and said, and asked, have you ever been there? Okay. So means, have you ever visited to these cities? It's a very wonderful town still. Okay. These cities are still very wonderful towns with big old frame houses, where the houses are big and old framed houses. Okay. Huge lawns in front of the houses, there's huge lawns. Okay. And tremendous trees. Okay. Very big lawns and tremendous highest trees whose branches meet. Okay. The trees whose branches meet overhead. Okay. Whose branches it meets overhead. So like this, and roof the streets. Okay. And also overhead and the roof. Okay. And streets as well. So and in 1894, and further he said, and in 1894 summer evenings. Okay. So the narrator explained that means how the trees, how the branches of the trees, they meet at the overhead. Okay. And roof and streets, and just meeting with each other, they prepare a roof and also a street downward. Okay. Further, and in 1894 summer evenings were twice as long. Okay. And in 1894 summer evenings were twice as long and people sat out on their lawns. During the summer of 1894, people used to sit in evening, which the evenings, seems twice long. Okay, and that time, they usually sit in their lawns. Okay, in their lawns, the men smoking cigars and talking quietly. Okay, usually men, sitting in the lawns, they usually get suck of, cigars. Okay, a type of cigarette. So and also, and talking to each other quietly or pleasantly without making noise. The women waving palm leaf fans, and the women sitting beside them, they weaving, like means pankha karna. Okay, weaving palm leaves, just like in India, women's women do after when they face summers. Okay, so with the fireflies all around, and in the lawns everywhere there's nothing but the fireflies, means jugnu. Okay, everywhere flying around, and in a peaceful word, and it seems a very peaceful word during that time. To be back there with the first world war is still 20 years off. Okay, to be back there means, narrator here, explaining, means to be back there from that years to now. The first world war is was, it means the first world war was about to 20 years later, still, and 20 years off, and world war second were 40 years in the future, means that from that year, in future, the first world war was about to come, will about to come 20 years later, and the second world war will about to come, after 40 years. Okay, in future. So I wanted two tickets for that, therefore he wanted two tickets for those two cities, Galsburg and Renois. Okay, uh, so the clerk figured the fare. After that, the clerk, when he demanded tickets, the clerk figured the fare, means he told the total price of the tickets. He glanced at my fancy headband, and further, the clerk, he looked at his fancy hatband, means the hat he wore, and also a band over it, around it. So he looked curiously at the headband, but he figured the fare. Okay, but he did not say, he only gave him the figure of the fare price. Okay, the price of the tickets, and I had enough for two coach tickets, and till that time he had enough for two he had enough for two coach tickets, means two ticket, two berth. He had enough money one way. But when I counted out the money, but after that, when he counted out the money, he thought that he had enough of money. But when he counted all the money and looked up, and then he looked up, that clerk was staring at me. Okay, when he was counting the money and then he looked up, he found that the clerk was staring. Okay, the clerk was grazing, just glaring at him. Okay, he nodded at the bills, and after that, the bill that was paid to him. Okay, he nodded his head, paying the money. There ain't money, mister. And further he said, they are not money, mister. He said, means the ticket collector said that they are not money, and if you are trying to skin me. And further he said, if you're trying to skin me, skin means gambling, hera fairy. Okay, if you are trying to skin me, you won't get very far. Okay, so further the collector said that if you are just skin me, if you are just gambling with me, so you won't go further, means you will be you will be caught and you won't go further. Okay, so he's tried to warn him, and he glanced at the cash drawer beside him, and further he also looked at the cash drawer, okay, which was beside him. uh, of course the money was old style bills. Okay, so there was no doubt that the money was old style bills. Okay, half again as big as the money we use nowadays. Okay, out of them half was as in the form of money as they use they are using in the future, and different looking, and some of them seems different or looks different. Some money looks different. I turned away and got out fast. After that, he turned back, and without having tickets, he turned back, and very fastly he came out from there. So there's nothing nice about jail even in 1894. Okay, as he knew that there's nothing good about the jails in 1894, therefore he did not try to buy the tickets, and very hurriedly he came out from the house. Okay, so and after that, and that was what that I left the same way came. Okay, and that was that means that was the way I just left the same way I came, means the way he came into the at the station, he took the same way to come out of the station, I suppose. Next day during lunch hour. Okay, and after that, as he came back next day, when he was having his lunch. Okay, I drew $300 out of the bank. After that, he withdrew $300 from his account from a bank. Okay, means nearly all we had, nearly whatever he had, he tried to withdraw all, and bought out old style currency, and after that he bought old style currency which actually run in during the 1894. Okay, so he bought tickets of old style currency that really worried my psychiatrist friend. So watching my habits, my activities, it did not please my psychiatrist. As I told you, means they are none but man who research on mind. Okay, or who treats the problems related to the mind. Okay, or nerves. You can buy old money at almost any coin dealers. Okay, you can buy old money at almost any coin dealers, but you have to pay a premium, means he said during that time you can buy old notes from anywhere. Okay, but you have to pay a premium for it, means you have to pay a little more for buying them. My $300 bought less than 200 in old style bills, means he bought bought old style currency, but in against paying 300s of dollars, he got only 200 in old style bills. But I didn't care. Okay, but he did not care what less he was getting. Eggs were 13 cents a dozen in 1894, as he was happy because eggs were because eggs were 13 cent a dozen, means the eggs were very cheap at cost during that time. In just 13 cent he could get a dozen of eggs during 1894. So whether he was getting less money in exchange, so he did not worry about, as he knew that this money is also very sufficient to survive in year 1894. Okay, so this way he tried to he tried to again set back to there, okay, for another journey, and after that we would study in the next lecture. Okay, students, I think less of the lecture is yet to remain, and I really would like to accomplish this okay, in the next lecture. So thank you everyone, enjoy yourself.